ourselves, God, the royal we, to preserve the Quran. Imam Al Qurtubi in his tafsir says that there was a Jewish man in Andalusia who wanted to see who had the truth. And he was a calligrapher. So he calligraphed a Torah and he put a lot of mistakes in it. And he took it to a rabbi. And it was a beautiful calligraphed Hebrew Torah. And the rabbi read it and he said, how is it? He said, it's beautiful. It's one of the finest editions of the Torah I've ever seen. And he said, okay, thank you. And then he did the Bible. He took it to a Christian priest. And he read it. And he said, what did you think? He said, beautiful. Excellent Bible. He said, no, nothing. He said, no, it was wonderful. Then he did the Quran. He took it to an imam. And the imam told him, you have to burn this. He said, why? He said, it's filled with mistakes. I don't care how nice the calligraphy is. And he knew then that these people had a preserved book. Imam Al Qurtubi mentions that. That's from Isnad. So when you study the Quran, you're studying a book that was preserved. There's no doubt about it. But the reality of it is, we have from Indonesia to California, from the furthest east to the furthest west, and everything in between, and every sect of Islam, whether it's the Ismailis, whether it's the Yemeni Yazidis or Zaydis, whether it's the Ibadiyya of Oman, whether it's the Hanafis, the Shafi'is, the Malikis, the Hanbalis of the Sunnis, whether it's the Zahiris of Andalusia when they were there, whether it's the Shia, Ithna Ashariya, the Eighters, the Seveners, the Twelvers, the Fivers, all of the Shia groups, every single one of the Muslims reads the same Quran. None of them differentiate on the Quran. Not one. Why? How is that possible? How is that possible? If the Bible has all these different recensions that even the Protestants and the Catholics don't agree on the books in the Bible. They don't know how the Greek was pronounced in some cases. They don't have a science of phonetics. We have tajweed. If you go from Indonesia, if you take an Indonesian qari and you take a qari who learned tajweed in California, they will recite the Quran exactly the same way. They might have difference in like the color of the hijab, the tone, the maqam, those aspects, but the idgham will be the same, the idhar will be the same, the ikhfa will be the same, the ghunna will be the same, the mudud will be the same. The counts on the mudud, if you have an expert, he'll determine whether their counts are right or wrong. And we're all in agreement on that. The 17 points of articulation, makharij al-huruf, are the same. The sifat, you will find very, very slight differences about a few letters and the sifat of the letters amongst the qurra. Very few differences. But generally, they don't change the meaning. And they're accepted. There's some debates about jim and the sifat of the jim, things like that. Essentially the same. How did that happen? Because if you take the Sanad all the way back, you will see the same reciters from the Sahaba. All of the Quran comes from the same few men. There's no difference. And they got it from the same source. That is a proof of the Isnad right there. Because there's no way you can tell me, if you go to Watford, you know Watford in England? It's actually Watford. Right? But they say Watford. Why? Because they don't pronounce the T. If you go to Australia, g'day mate, you know, the g'day, good day, right? That's how they say it, right? G'day, right? If you in California, if you want a glass of water, you don't say water, you say I like some water, right? Because we turn it into the ta into a da, right? These are all differences of attributes of the way language, elocution, the way we speak differs based on where you're from. If you speak, the reason comedians have field days with foreign accents is because people from other languages, when they speak English, if they have absorbed that language and they didn't learn English early enough, they will speak it in a very similar way. So Arabs will say for paradise, they'll say paradise, paradise. And they put those heavy accents. They can't help it because what they're doing is they're articulating English the way they would speak Arabic.